Announcing the commencement of the first purge.
I want you to change the world, and don't think that this is going to happen peacefully or you can do it alone. We need to kill the rich. You get out there, you use your weapons, and you rip Washington apart. You hunt down the billionaires, the bank bosses, the CEOs, the scumbags, and the liars, the governors, the lobbyists, the senators, because they're all the same, and you hang them.
Just remember all the good the purge does.
Good morning, everyone. It's July 29th, 2018. I'm Eric. How's everyone doing this morning? I hope you're well. I'm here at shtfplan.com. Remember I told you the radiation from Fukushima would eventually bleed into our human habitat. It's already destroyed the Pacific Ocean, causing massive dead zones all throughout the Pacific Ocean, and among other things. So here we are, radioactive particles from Fukushima nuclear disaster found in California wine. This comes from Lisa Egan of ReadyNutrition.com. So on March 11th, 2011, a major earthquake in Japan and the tsunami that followed disabled the power supply and cooling of 3 Fukushima Daiichi reactors, causing a nuclear accident. The disaster known, or commonly known as Fukushima, was the most significant nuclear incident since April 26 of 1986, and since the Chernobyl disaster, and the second disaster to be giving the Level 7 event classification of the International Nuclear Event Scale. According to Our World in Data, 40 to 50 people experienced physical injury or radiation burns at the nuclear facility, with no direct deaths. But mortality from the radiation exposure was not the only threat to human health. It's estimated that around 1,600 people have died as a result of evacuation procedures and stress-induced factors like suicide. The figure ranges between 1,000 and 1,600 deaths from evacuation. Stress-induced deaths affected mostly older people. More than 90% of mortality occurred in individuals over age 66. How many people are projected to suffer in the long term from low-level radiation exposure? According to Our World in Data, in its health risk assessment of the nuclear disaster, the World Health Organization note exposure levels too low to affect human health for the national population, with exception to a few communities in closest proximity. In these localities, it is those who were infants at the time of exposure who are at greatest risk of cancer. At the 2 closest sites, the incidence of cancer in the demographic is projected to be between 4 and 7% higher than baseline cancer rates for both males and females. The WHO project the number of deaths from low-level exposure to be close to 0 and up to 400 in upper estimates. In 2012, a screening program found that more than a third, 36% of children in Fukushima prefecture have abnormal growth in their thyroid glands. As of August of 2013, there were more than 40 children newly diagnosed with thyroid cancer and other cancers in Fukushima. The people in the area worst affected by the nuclear accident have slightly higher risks of developing certain cancers such as leukemia, solid cancers, thyroid cancer, and breast cancers, according to a 2013 report. In 2015, the number of thyroid cancers or detections of developing thyroid cancers numbered 137. Of that finding, lead researchers, some shit I can't pronounce, from Okayama University. This is more than expected and merging faster than expected. This is 20 to 50 times what would be normally expected. Another 2015 report revealed that cleanup crews trying to mitigate the never-ending radiation crisis at Fukushima ran into more problems after sensors monitoring a drainage gutter detected a huge spike in radiation levels from wastewater pouring into the Pacific Ocean. More than a year after the accident, fish off Japan's coast showed up high cesium levels, causing the country to ban the sale of several species. Radioactive wild boars continued to reproduce and eat crops in the region. They are marauded Japanese towns and attacked people. Last year, scientists in Norway revealed that despite authorities claiming that radioactive particles from the disaster would not be widespread, the radiation emitted from Fukushima really did have global reach. According to the group's data, over 80% of the radiation that was released by the meltdown ended up in either the ocean or ice at the North and South poles. Of the remaining radiation, each human on the planet received roughly 0.1 millisievert, which equates to about 1 extra X-ray each, according to the team. While this isn't a lot of radiation and might not seem like a big deal, it is actually concerning because it tells us that the Fukushima disaster is still unfolding. As Joshua Krause explained last year, earlier this year it was revealed that the level of radiation at the power plant was its highest level since the crisis began in 2011, and the fuel rods have likely melted through their containment vessel. If this situation isn't contained, then these fuel rods could melt into the groundwater and spew radioactive particles into the ocean for years, or at least more than what the power plant is already leaking into the ocean. He concluded, that's why the discovery made by these Norwegian researchers should be taken seriously. We know for a fact that the radiation from Fukushima is capable of reaching everyone on our planet. So, if the situation in Fukushima ever worsens, we know that there will be nowhere to run. There will be no escaping the lethal immunizations from this power plant. A new report supports Krause's position or conclusion. Radioactive particles from the Fukushima disaster have been detected, of all places, California and California wine. Inspired by tests conducted in the aftermath of the 1986 Chernobyl disaster, researchers at France's National Center for Scientific Research decided to test a series of California wines dating between 2009 and 2012. They looked for traces of radioactive particles, specifically cesium-137, a man-made isotope. Smithsonian.com reported on the team's findings. Their findings, newly published in the preprint online journal ARXIV, suggest that currents and atmospheric patterns carried radioactive particles across the Pacific, where they settled on grapevines growing in California's wine region. The team writes that bottles produced following the nuclear meltdown contain increased levels of cesium-137, with the Cabernet revealing double the amount of pre-Fukushima radiation. Cesium-137 is a radioactive byproduct of the fusion of uranium-235, and it leaves a long-lasting nuclear signature. In 2001, the French pharmacologist Philippe Hubert, who also conducted the new study, discovered that he could use this signature to date wines without opening the bottles. Bottom line, this disaster has not ended. And as far as I know, and most other people know, there's no way to end it. Certainly there is a mineral or something out there that could absorb the radiation, but as it sits now, there's nothing being done except for allowing this radioactive water to be dumped into the ocean. And of course, it's getting into the air. Now, as this continues, the radioactive isotopes, the particles, they will concentrate at some point. Where are they going to go? And I'm not the only one who believes this is an extinction level event. It's just a slow decaying extinction level event. It's already destroyed one habitat, the Pacific Ocean. Now it's going to destroy other habitats like ours. So, you can do a few things to protect yourself from radiation. One of them is iodine. I hate to say this, but InfoWars has a pretty good iodine. So does Mike Adams. You want to fill your glands with this iodine so that the radioactive particles cannot get into your glands. If you don't want to buy iodine, use like Himalayan salt or pink sea salt or anything with a high iodine level in it. You want to keep your glands healthy, and if any of these particles get into them, you're going to end up getting thyroid cancer or some other glandular cancer. So, and of course, these places, these companies are kind of in a rock and a hard place because they need the water from the ocean or other avenues like streams or rivers or lakes. They need that to cool the fuel rods. That's why they build them where they build them. If you have to build these places on fault lines or in places that are tsunami prone, perhaps you shouldn't build them at all. Anyway, thought I'd share this with you. If you're a wine drinker, I wouldn't be buying California wine. because it has elevated levels of radioactive material. Till next time, kill the state before the state kills you.